Today, we will hear the story. In my first year, I stacked 300 ounces of silver, and then this happened.
Welcome to Silver Heist. Thank you to our returning subscribers and guests. We are a channel that likes to hold physical gold and silver. To support my creation, please subscribe.
So we here at Silver Heist channel, we like physical silver and gold, and we like a good story. Today, we're going to interview the man with that 300 ounces of silver story. He's a frequent commenter on my channel and other channels who I tune into. When I first saw his comment about his first year in stacking, I invited him to appear on this video. Please give my guest a warm welcome by giving this video a thumbs up. I know a few of the highlights of his story, so please stay to the end so you know what happened. So, Mr. Origami Outlaw, thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Heist. I feel like my childhood watching some of the shows I watched as a kid in the 70s, where there was a special guest star, and I always thought that was an important role. So I'm delighted to be the special guest star tonight. It's my first time being a special guest star.
I have a sidekick now. So, Mr. Origami Outlaw, when did you start stacking and why?
This story goes back a year this month, actually. So I've just celebrated my 1 year anniversary as a stacker. If we go back to the end of 2020, we know how crazy of a year that was with COVID starting and working from home and things like that. On the personal side, I had just a bunch of stressors that occurred towards the end of the year with kids being home from school. I had elderly parents who were going through home care, and I was dealing with that. And got to about December of 2020. Both my parents ended up having COVID, and they went to the hospital. My father had been in bad shape and had been bedridden for some time. My mom was released a few days later. My dad passed away after about a week. And
with respect to your dad, sorry about your loss.
Thank you. It was probably around the time I got the news that weekend that I just happened to be on YouTube looking for some videos for work. I came across what I didn't know then, but I know now, was a stacking video. And I was curious enough to explore it and watch it. And I thought, that's interesting. That's something, I guess that's a hobby that people have where they buy silver coins or gold and things like that. I went back to YouTube for something, and I had a couple of recommendations on my YouTube queue that were related to stacking. So I ended up watching a few more. Something just clicked, and I thought, this might not be a bad idea. Maybe I should pick up some silver eagles or something, because I had bought a few for my kids when they were born and never thought about it again. Put them in a drawer, but I was just kind of enamored with these videos I watched and how people made a hobby of this, and an enjoyable hobby at that. Were using the hobby as a way to, as we say, be their own bank. And I thought, I've always been a horrible saver, and I thought this might be something that I would enjoy, that would take my mind off the stressors of being home and some of the things that were going on at that time.
So ballpark, how much silver did you stack in your first year? And did you exceed your plan or meet your goals?
So my goal in that first year was 100 ounces of silver. By the end of the year, I ended up with just over 300 ounces of silver.
What types of silver did you stack in your first year?
So I primarily stuck with the Silver Bullion, because that's what I was watching the content providers pick up and recommend. So I mainly did picked up the Britannia, some Eagles, the Krugerrand, and the Canadian Maple Leaf. And then I kind of slowly branched into picking up 10-ounce bars from the RCM, Asahi bars, and a couple of Academy stacker bars.
So who are some of these content providers who got you into this new hobby?
Well, we'll start with you. Watched you for the majority of the year, and I would also mention, I think the first content provider I actually stumbled across was ironically with gold, and that was 2 is 1. And went back and watched some of his older videos. And then I stumbled upon Florida Stacker, Stacking Stormtrooper, and Inefficient Stacker, Silver 5150, Shadow Stack across the pond there. Silver Oceans. I guess I should be looking at my ammo can right across the way and mentioning some of the people on the with the stickers. Trident Stacking, so just it ran the gamut. Clean Money,
the bean
bean count, Silver Bean counter, and
all good guys.
All good guys. All good. Austrian Stacker. I've got a bunch of stickers on the other side of that can. The things you can't see. Silver Struck, Spectacular, all those guys. So I'm sure I'm leaving a few out, but
sure.
So
it's a good place to start.
The thing about the videos combined with stacking is it just took me out of any sense of anything else going on in the world. So you could sit back and watch a content provider, watch a video, and just feel like you're right there with them, like they're a buddy right across the bar, and trying to decide what should I buy next. Should I get this? Should I get this? It was just something that was very enjoyable. And then having a product arrive in your mailbox a month or 5 weeks later was also rewarding. So
great. So are you stacking for weight, or do you have some collectibles in there too?
That's spread out among some Queen's Beast. I've got some Nikola Tesla coins I picked up just because of his connection to the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition that took place in Chicago, and I was always interested in that.
Did Tesla appear at the Chicago World's
He was there.
Fair?
He was there. Yeah, he was there for the whole fair.
Did he have some lights?
He did have some lights. I think he's covered quite a bit in the Eric Larson book, The Devil in the White City. And that's
I started that book. I put it down, so I need to finish it.
It's a good book, but and I just thought this might be something that I want to have down the road or pass on to my kids. But then you think, okay, am I stacking or am I collecting? So I would say that at this point I've probably evolved into a stacker who's stacking for more weight.
So have you bought mostly from a local coin store, from online dealers, or something else?
So the funny thing is, I had a hard time pulling the trigger on going into a local coin shop. I have a few near me, based on where I'm at, and I just didn't know how to walk in and approach them. And I had been buying the bullion on with the online dealers and was comfortable doing that anonymously. I looked up a couple LCSs and then located one that was established, not far from my house, 15 minutes away. I found the people at the coin shop to be very, very friendly, very outgoing, very engaging. The funny thing is their prices at this particular LCS weren't really competitive with what I was buying online, but I ended up getting into constitutional silver later in the year and started visiting the LCS every 2 weeks on payday just to pick up some Mercury dimes or Franklin halves or walking liberties, things like that. So now it's at the point where if I walk in there, the guy just gets the bin for me and we have a little conversation, and I usually walk out after a half hour with a little pocket full of junk silver.
It's just like Silver Joker.
Exactly. And I have to say people like that and some other people who've been in the Constitutional, I have to mention Bionic Fishy Fish really kind of turned me on to the Constitutional. So
would you say your 2021 stacking was moving an existing asset into metals, or was it more like a cash flow savings account?
So it was a little of both, Heist. I sold some stock. I was playing around with some stock market stuff since I was working from home. It was something to do, and I bought some stocks, and then a few months later traded at a profit, traded those in, and bought some metals with them. And then from there, I just kind of earmarked a portion of my paycheck to picking up metals, because the positive thing of the whole COVID situation is that I wasn't spending the same amount of money on everyday expenses. I wasn't driving into work because I was working from home. So I was saving on gas. I was saving on, car maintenance. I was not spending as much money on dry cleaning for work clothes and things like that. So,
or drive-throughs.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I started making coffee at home. My wife, thankfully, never said, "Hey, where's all that extra money that you're not spending by going to work?" So it's don't ask, don't tell kind of thing.
Right. Yes. Do you believe you've saved as much as before, or do you think you've become a better saver?
Oh, absolutely. I've become a better saver. There's no way that I would have the savings in cash that I have in metals after the year of stacking. Because I would have found a way to while away that money if it was sitting in a bank account. Something would have come up, whether you're putting it towards something the kids want or something for the house. And all those things, all those obligations got met somehow. I think I just became more organized, and I did end up saving a lot more. And it's just a different mentality to have it in your hand and say, I don't want to cash in this tube of Britannias because I might need this later, or I might want to pass it down to my kids.
So I think you said you've got over 300 ounces of silver in your first year. Have you also bought some gold?
So I did tread more carefully into gold and eventually pulled the trigger with some fractional gold. Primarily went with the 1/4 ounce American Gold Eagle, and then the 1/4 ounce maples, and then here and there picked up a few 1/10 ounce. Never pulled the trigger on the 1 ounce just because of the cost and having other expenses that I didn't want to cut into. I kind of stayed within that lane of sovereign bullion, but ended up with I think I've got about 8.5 ounces sitting in the little pile there.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great job. So well done. So
thank you.
When I grew up, we had Fred Lynn and Jim Rice as rookies, and Fred Lynn won Rookie of the Year, but they were both very good. So you may be a stacking Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I hope so.
Are other family members involved with your stacking?
They're only involved to the point where they stay away from me when I've got the stack out. The kids enjoy it. A funny story. My wife, when she finally found out what I was doing and picking these up, she thought, "What are we going to do with that?" So there was one day where I had to sell something. I chose to sell a 5 ounce silver round or something, and she was with me, and brought it to the LCS, ran in with her, sold it. They gave me cash, and after that, she was on board. She didn't realize what an efficient process that was. So, just talked about how it's really a form of savings. And I've said a man could have worse hobbies that he's spending his money on, right? So
sure,
she agreed with that. So
with a year's worth of experience, what would you do differently in 2022?
Well, I think I would be less likely to buy the hot fun stuff. Yeah, some of the collectors things that end up having a $15 or $20 premium per ounce that sometimes we think, oh, maybe I need to have this because it's going to be a collector's item. I don't see myself having a platform to sell my metals. I don't think I would sell my metals en masse. I'd probably wait until I'm retired or pass them down to my kids. So I'm less likely to use Instagram or eBay. And that said, it just seemed that the most sensible thing for me to do was stick to the foundation, which is what I want to do this year. So I think moving forward, I'm going to stay with just a few sovereign coins, maybe the maple leaf on a regular basis, the American Eagle when I can get it for not an outrageous premium, some 10 ounce bars, and then the gold. Stick with the dollar cost averaging and buying the gold on a regular basis. I'm pretty well set with getting that 1/4 ounce a month.
That's great. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just what a great community this is with both the content providers, people like you and some of the people I mentioned who really provide a service for us to enjoy this hobby and to see what other people are doing and to speak so upfront about what's good, what's not. I've probably learned more about economics and finance from stacking than I did in any college course I took or any economics course I may have taken in high school. And it's been an interesting ride. I'm just finishing. I finished my first year. I hope to do this long term, and just trying to discover some new content providers out there who are new and giving them a shot and seeing what they have to say. But it's just such a great community that it's I think a fine way to spend your leisure time, some of your leisure time.
I appreciate your comments in my videos. So welcome to the community.
Thanks. And thanks again for having me. Really enjoyed being here.
Thank you for your time and thanks for joining us tonight.
Take care.